Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be required to learn about with order of operation is how to use the numbers and what the numbers actually mean. So I'm going to do two different videos with this. I'm going to show you how to create an expression from a word problem or a situation, and then in the next video I'm going to give you an expression and you're going to show me how you create a word problem from just an expression. So to start things out, let's say we're talking about cookies. Okay, let's say that my grandma is making a batch of cookies that she is going to put in a bake sale. So let's say that in her first batch of cookies she makes 32 cookies, and then she does another batch where she makes 16. Okay, so her first batch she made 32, and her next batch she made 16. And then what she's going to do is she's going to take all those cookies and put them in bags of 4. Okay, so now once you read that, that's kind of like a word problem that we've just created, where someone makes 32 cookies, then they make 16 cookies, and then they're going to put them in bags of 4. Okay, so now what we're trying to figure out is, how many bags are we going to have? Well, now what we need to do is figure out how to use these numbers. Okay, so if we create an order of operation problem where we say, okay, 32, and then what did we do with our 16? Well, the 16 was more cookies that we made, so we need to find the total of cookies, meaning we need to add them together. And then we're taking our total of cookies and splitting it up into groups of 4, which means we are dividing. Okay? Now, here's the key thing. When we look at this problem, we just automatically say 32 plus 16 is 48, divided by 4 is 12. But remember, we have to use order of operation. And in order to get our correct answer, we cannot do 16 divided by 4 first. We have to do 32 plus 16. So what do we know that we can do with 32 plus 16 in order to do it first? We have to put it in parentheses. Okay? So now we're going to take our totals of cookies, add them together, and get 32 plus 16 is 48. Then we're going to divide them by 4 and get an answer of 12 bags. Okay, so that was one example. Okay, in our next example, we're going to use trees as our manipulative, or as our thing that we're used to seeing. So let's say that I am taking care of a park. Like, it is my job to do the maintenance of a city park. And when I first get there, I notice that, oh look, there's a patch of trees, and it looks like they're in an exact array. And there are 12 rows of trees. 12 rows of trees, and in each row there are 4 trees. Okay? Now, the city wants me to add more trees as we go, so I say, you know what, I'm going to have a plan for 10 more trees. And again, along the way, we kind of lose some money. Actually, let's say a storm happens. A storm happens and blows some trees over, and it blows 15 trees over. So I want to know, after that storm, how many trees were left in the park. So originally, we had 12 rows of 4. I put 10 more in, and then 15 got destroyed. So what would that expression look like? That's going to say, well, if it's 12 rows of 4, that means that I am multiplying 12 and 4. Okay? Then I take 10 more trees and put them in the park, which means I have to add those trees. Then I have to subtract the 15 trees that blew over. Alright? So now we have our expression. We can follow order of operation and say, well, there are no parentheses, because we don't want to put this in parentheses, because again, that happened after these trees were here and after this tree was here. So we just go in our normal order of operation to say, all right, we have 12 times 4, which is 48. And then we want to add 10 because we're going left to right. So 48 plus 10 is 58. Then 15 trees get destroyed. So what is 58 minus 15? That is 43 trees are left. Okay? So again, that's you have to take them step by step. You have to know what multiplication is to say, 12 groups of 4, and then we put 10 more in, and then we took away 15 because of them getting destroyed. Knowing what those keywords mean in word problems, to know that when we did the cookie problem over here, that we split them up into groups of 4 after we got our total. That was division. Okay, knowing that when trees are destroyed that we're subtracting, or knowing that when there's 12 groups of 4 that we're multiplying. Okay, that's the key stuff that you need to look for when you do your word problem sheet coming up. All right, so that's very important. Okay, we're going to do one more problem at the request of my daughter here. She said that we should do flowers. So let's say that we are running a greenhouse and someone donates 12 flowers. Okay, so someone brings in 12 flowers, and we're gonna put that in our greenhouse where we already have. Now we have our pots right here. We already have 10 pots in my greenhouse, and as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flowers in each pot. Okay? Okay, and once all those flowers are bloomed and growing beautiful, I am going to run a special deal that anyone who comes into my greenhouse gets 3 flowers each. Okay? So what I want to know is, how many people am I going to be able to give flowers to? Well, let's look at the numbers, okay? Someone brought me and donated 12 flowers. Okay? I already had 10 pots with 5 flowers each, and then I was going to give 3 flowers each. So that means I had 12, which I was adding to my already total. This total right here, if I have 10 flower pots with 5 in them each, that means that I have groups of, which means that I have to multiply. So that's 10, 5. Then I'm going to split my flowers up and give each person that walks in 3 flowers. Okay? So now what you have to think about is, again, my order of operation. If I were to follow order of operation, I would have to do 10 times 5 first, and then whatever that comes out to, divide it by 3. But that's not what I want to do. I have to find my total first. I have to know how many flowers I have total right here before I divide it by 3. So that means that I have to know what 10 times 5 is, plus 12, before I divide it by 3. So that means I have to know, in order to know my total first, I have to put that in parentheses. So now I'm going to get the total amount of flowers, which is, now we follow our order of operation of saying 10 times 5 is 50, plus 12 is 62. Okay? Now I have to take 62 and divide it by 3. So let's do that up here. 3, 62. How many times does 3 go into 6? Twice, with 0 left over. How many times can 3 go into 2? 0 times, with a remainder of 2. So I'm going to give flowers to the first 20 people who walk in, and I'm going to have 2 flowers left over. All right? So again, I hope this gives you a good idea of how you manipulate the word problems and the operations when solving problems like this.